Welcome. Welcome, everyone, on this absolutely beautiful day, and welcome to Friends and Family Weekend, which this year happens to be the opening ceremony of Wellesley College's 150th anniversary celebration. I'm so happy that we are joined by so many parents, friends, and students today, as well as alumni from across New England. We're here with, we are particularly delighted to have with us President Emerita Nan Cohane of the Wellesley class of 1961. Wellesley's 11th president and the first woman president of Duke. And a welcome to another alum, our State Senator Liz Miranda. You are all part of Wellesley's remarkable journey. And today, in what feels like a defining moment for higher education, it's really worth thinking about Wellesley's past and formulating some wishes for Wellesley's future. It's clear that the vision of our founders, Pauline and Henry Durant, was truly extraordinary for its moment and for its durability. When Wellesley was first chartered in 1870, the country was just 5 years past the Civil War. The 15th Amendment that had given men of all races and colors the right to vote was at that time, but it would be another 50 years before the same right was extended to women. In the 1870s, educated men were still arguing about, without embarrassment, that higher education for women was a mistake because women didn't have the right intellectual or physical capacities to absorb a lot of knowledge, or because advanced education would lead women outside the domestic sphere where they belonged. Wellesley's founders, on the other hand, were certain that women were the intellectual and spiritual equal of men. And they intended to prove it at Wellesley by offering a first-rate education equal to that of any male institution, with an excellent library, superbly equipped laboratories, and a faculty of brilliant women scholars and scientists whom the Durants would give the rare opportunity for academic careers. Catherine Lee Bates of the Wellesley class of 1880 indicates the caliber of the early Wellesley faculty. After a few years of teaching English at Wellesley, she wrote a prize-winning young adult novel, and used the funds to study at Oxford. She returned to Wellesley, where she helped establish the field of American literature, co-founded the Dennison Settlement House in Boston to aid immigrants, was a war correspondent for the New York Times during the Spanish-American War, and wrote essays, travel books, and poems. Truly a Renaissance woman. One of those poems was America the Beautiful, which became the country's most beloved patriotic song. Even before they could vote, Wellesley women dwelled among spacious skies. The Durants' vision was not just about paying women's intellect and the respect they deserved. They saw educated women as the single most powerful force in the world. In a sermon that Henry Durant delivered in Wellesley's early years, he discounted the idea that Wellesley existed merely to offer a college education for girls. Instead, he called higher education for women one of the great world battle cries for freedom, preparation for great conflicts, for vast reforms in social life, for noblest usefulness. In other words, the Durants expected Wellesley graduates to be agents of democracy and champions of justice. And in that democratic vein, the Durants made it possible for young women from all socioeconomic backgrounds to afford a Wellesley education. The early catalog stated that the college is intended for young women of moderate means. How unusual at that time. Long after Henry died, and even after Wellesley had become popular with wealthier students, Pauline Durant fought furiously to keep Wellesley's tuition affordable. She also made sure that the presidents of Wellesley were all women. Thank you, Pauline. 150 years after Wellesley College first opened its doors, I wonder what our founders would think if they returned today. I think they'd be proud to see that thanks to the love and generosity of generations of Wellesley alumni, Wellesley is one of the few colleges in the United States that's able to admit students regardless of their financial circumstances, meaning that we are need blind. Wellesley is also tuition-free for students from families earning less than $150,000 a year. Our founders would surely delight in the diversity of our students today. They come from 47 different states, as well as Washington, D.C., Guam, and Puerto Rico. About 13% come from other countries. More than 20% are first in their families to attend a four-year institution. Thank you. And 52% come from a home where at least one language other than English is spoken. They are also all brilliant students ready to take advantage of a first-rate liberal arts education and to gain the skills to lead in our complex world. Of course, if our founders return today, the campus might be a bit unfamiliar to them. The magnificent college hall they designed for Wellesley, one of the largest and most beautiful buildings in the United States at the time, burned down the night of 1914. Today, only a few columns remain. What they would recognize, though, is the competence of Wellesley's students, who all survived the fire. Because the student fire chief had insisted on unannounced nighttime fire drills, the students knew exactly what to do when they were startled out of sleep by a warning gong. Within 10 minutes, student fire lieutenants had accounted for everyone and gotten them all out of the building safely. The Durants would also certainly recognize the commitment to this lovely site that they chose. Evident in the sensitive way that the campus was rebuilt with the advice of Frederick Law Olmsted Jr., I think they'd be proud that today Wellesley is wisely considered one of the most beautiful college campuses in the United States, with this landscape serving as an essential part of the education of our students. If the Durants returned, they would clearly be very happy to see that our academics remain world-class and that our students receive an extraordinary form of preparation for life. In honor of Wellesley's 150th anniversary, we joined forces with a labor market analytics firm to see if the famous Wellesley effect could be quantified. We know it exists, but let's look at the numbers. We learned that Wellesley graduates do indeed develop the confidence to break barriers, entering fields where women are traditionally underrepresented, such as finance, tech, science, engineering, and politics. Wellesley's graduates go on to earn doctorates in science and engineering at higher rates than women graduates of any other liberal arts college in the country. More than 500 Wellesley alumni have launched startups. Within 15 years of graduating, over 40% of our alumni have ascended into management roles. The most common titles are CEO, President, and Executive Director. Our study found that Wellesley graduates succeed and lead more often than the alumni of other women's colleges and of highly selective co-ed liberal arts institutions. They are more likely to be employed at Fortune 500 companies. They are more likely to serve in government roles. They are more likely to serve on corporate and nonprofit boards. Our study also confirms that the liberal arts education that Wellesley provides allows our graduates to go anywhere. Since 2016, Wellesley has ranked first or second among selective colleges for first destination career outcomes. 6 months after commencement, 97% of the members of the class of 2024 were employed, attending graduate school, or participating in military or service programs. And Wellesley graduates who have reached the executive level were just as likely to have majored in the humanities as in the social sciences or STEM. So for the parents in the room, have no fear. That medieval and Renaissance studies major is a fine path to power in the 21st century. The data prove it. How have our students achieved these outcomes? First of all, our outstanding faculty have not only provided a truly outstanding education in the classroom, but they have also helped by championing experiential learning. In 2024, they approved a new degree requirement to ensure that all students have access to compete for opportunities such as internships and research before graduating. Second, we have made tremendous investments in career education. From the moment they arrive to the day that they graduate, Wellesley students are supported by staff and industry-specific advisors who guide them as they begin to sharpen their focus on potential careers. Finally, these outcomes reflect the brilliance and determination of our alumni. The most powerful women's network in the world, they have opened doors and held them open for generations of Wellesley women to follow. The Durants, however, did not intend to educate women merely for self-sufficiency and professional success. They wanted to develop women ready, willing, and able to create opportunities for others. What would they think of Wellesley in 2025 on this front? Our analysis found that Wellesley alumni are much more likely than graduates of peer colleges to serve in their communities as public servants, and many more devote their lives to something bigger than themselves. One such very young alumna is Chantal Zizzy Lerner of the Wellesley class of 2025, who was recently profiled in the New York Times by Nicholas Kristof. When Chantal was 13, her parents were killed in ethnic violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. She and her 9 siblings fled to a refugee camp in Uganda. Eventually, she made her way to Massachusetts, in fact, to Framingham, and then to Wellesley. While she was still a student, she founded a nonprofit called Refugee Can Be that works to uplift other girls forced to flee their homes in the same refugee camp that Chantal survived. In a few minutes, we will enjoy a panel of 3 other women who exemplify such civic engagement. They are Karen Grigsby Bates, class of 73, longtime NPR correspondent and senior correspondent for Code Switch, a podcast that reports on race and ethnicity. Jocelyn Benson, class of '99, Secretary of State of Michigan, who braved death threats in the wake of the 2020 election and is currently running for governor. And Sue Wagner, class of '82, co-founder and director of investment giant BlackRock. She blasted through gender barriers on Wall Street and inspired Wellesley to create the Wagner Centers for Wellesley and the World, which focuses on connecting the college much more directly with the world through outward-facing faculty research, through connecting with our alumni around the world, and through connecting our students with the world they will enter. I am sure these remarkable women will have some very insightful things to say about leadership and about Wellesley. Civic engagement is as much a part of the Wellesley education today as it was 150 years ago. And frankly, it is just as important today as it was then. A recent survey found that a majority of American voters believe the country's political system is now too divided to solve the nation's problems. The country needs young people who can change that, and Wellesley is educating them. For example, our Hillary Rodham Clinton Center for Citizenship, Leadership, and Democracy had another outstanding civic action lab this August. The lab is designed to help students learn how to engage across differences and how to better understand those whom they disagree with. 110 sophomores participated. By the way, they don't have to apply, which they love. They are now continuing through a year-long fellows program that will introduce them to many civic innovators, people making meaningful change across professions. Our faculty-led pluralism initiative, which brings challenging viewpoints to campus, is in its second year of vigorous programming. It has launched our student fellowships that include a seminar, and this year is focused on Israel and Palestine. It is taught by two experts on the Middle East, Dr. Ezzedine Fisher of Dartmouth and Dr. Derek Pensler of Harvard. We had 4 times as many applicants as fellowships, which is such a hopeful sign. And Provost Courtney Coyle is leading a group of faculty in profound conversations on how to ensure constructive dialogue and the free exchange of ideas in the classroom. When the Durants decided that Wellesley should not just educate women, but should also be led by women, they created an institution that became a center for ideas about women and advocacy for women. I think they'd be pleased to see that one of the pillars of our current strategic plan is a commitment to women's empowerment and gender equality, and to advancing these fundamental values through our faculty's research, through our alumni, and through our partnerships that advance women's education. One example of the partnership is the founding of the Asian University for Women in Chittagong, Bangladesh, which is dedicated to providing an outstanding liberal arts education and to developing women leaders in a part of the world where women without means often have very few opportunities. Wellesley President Emerita Diana Chapman Walsh, class of '66, convened the meeting on the Wellesley campus where this amazing project was conceived. Today, we send our own alumni to the Asian University for Women as teaching fellows, and we remain highly engaged with them. I think if Henry and Pauline Durant could see Wellesley at 150, they'd be proud of an institution that is still recognizably theirs, but that has grown in stature to become the preeminent women's college in the world, and as an institution and community of alumni that is a force for progress around the globe. Now, I wonder what we would see if we could return to Wellesley 150 years from now. It goes without saying that in 2175, Wellesley will still be educating brilliant women ready to transform the world. The faculty. The faculty will still be superb. 150 years from now, the moment when, in this current time, when leadership of the United States question the value of higher education, well, that will be long in the rearview mirror. Higher education will be embraced as a public good, one essential in a democracy. Colleges' sense of civic responsibility will be clear through their teaching and actions, and Wellesley would have been a leader in this movement. The Wellesley campus will be still one of the most beautiful in the United States, and Lake Waban would not have dried up, thanks to the energy technologies invented by Wellesley engineers. Carbon emissions will no longer be a problem, and temperatures will have plateaued. The world will be healthier than ever. Wellesley-educated physician-scientists will have made important contributions to preventing heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and Alzheimer's. Wellesley-educated astrophysicists, aerospace engineers, and astronauts will have long ago planted a flag on Mars. Thanks to Wellesley-educated physicists, the world will have found the particles that make up dark matter, and dark energy will be understood. Ingenious technologies will be taking full advantage of this advanced understanding. The world will not just be better comprehended, it will be happier. Wellesley economists will have developed policies that allow the fruits of the global economy to be much more widely shared, and Wellesley political leaders will have adopted them. Wellesley artists will confront us with the truths that we have not recognized before and spread beauty and joy. Wellesley women will have gone from the settlement house to the White House. In fact, over the course of the next 150 years, Wellesley would have educated so many presidents of the United States and other top leaders that it's hardly a news story anymore. This community has a lot to look forward to. Wellesley is that rare institution that has stayed true to its founding vision while growing more influential than its founders could even have imagined. Over and over, Wellesley alumni prove that women's education is the single most powerful force in the world. Wellesley matters. It's important, even crucial, at this challenging moment in the history of our country and in the world. And thanks to our brilliant students, Wellesley College gives us reasons to be optimistic about a better, healthier, happier, more equitable, and more inspiring future. So I thank all of you for coming to help us celebrate today, and please enjoy the rest of the weekend and join us in the work that we have to do to secure the future. Thank you.